Hello everybody, it's Amanda. How are you doing? It's March the 9th. It is the Virgo supermoon. Happy supermoon everybody. Hope you've got your crystals out. We've actually got some sunshine today, so mine are out on the balcony upstairs. I think I'm just going to have a little bit of a chat in this video, but I'm going to allude to a couple of signs that I've also had from various members of the Heart Squad. And I've also got this, which is quite interesting. I bought the Watkins Mind, Body, Spirit magazine for, what month is it? I don't know. Anyway, doesn't have a month on it, I don't think. Oh, spring 2020. What interested me was it's got the 100 most spiritually influential living people in 2020. Because I think the Heart Squad they'd make up some of the most influential dead people, basically, you know, in terms of who we choose to turn to for guidance. But anyway, it's quite an interesting list. And I'm going to tell you a couple of the people that surprised me that were on it, but in a good way. You know, it was like, oh, of course. So how they've made up this list is the person has to be alive, okay? The person has to have made a unique and spiritual contribution on a global scale, okay, global. The person also has to be frequently Googled. They have to appear in Nielsen data and be actively talked about through the internet. And by taking into account the amount of times that a person is Googled or how often their Wikipedia profile is viewed, the list gains a highly democratic and transparent parameter. So it's quite interesting. Before I tell you who's made the top 10, I will tell you that of the 100, sorry, I've got pain in my throat, I'll tell you about that in a moment. Of the 100, it's actually linked into somebody who wants to come through and be channeled, who had problems with their throat. I will just tell you who it is before I do the list. It's I've got the Bee Gees, basically. Maurice Gibb came through a little bit this morning, but it's Robin Gibb, because Robin and Maurice were twins. Robin died of a number of different forms of cancer that he had in his body, but he had a tracheotomy in his throat. That's what I'm feeling. Can you just take it away, Spirit? I've got the message now. Anyway, yeah, so of this list of 100 people, 30 are women, 70 of them are men. 70 are men. So disproportionate number of men are in this 100 most spiritually influential living people. I'm fine with that personally. The youngest, guess who you think is the youngest? Greta Thunberg, okay? Don't start dissing Greta, by the way. Just zip it. It's not what we need to do on this page. The oldest person is James Lovelock. James Lovelock, wasn't he the one who came up with the Gaia principle? The theory that Earth is a living, breathing, sentient being? Oh my God, yes, he is. Well, how interesting is that? Because if we've got the youngest person being Greta, who's obviously all about the environment, whether you like her or not, and you've got James as the oldest person on this list, who's 100, it ties in with what I've been saying about the younger generation and the elders birthing, you know, this new era, this new Earth. I find that fascinating. 28 countries are represented in the list of 100. And this is good. I must just say this because it's a shout out to the Cancerians. The most popular zodiac signs of this top 100 people, spiritual people, are Cancer, Cancer, Pisces and Aquarius. Well, I have Cancer with Aquarian moon, so I'm quite pleased with that. And then Chinese astrology, snake, goat and monkey. I'm a goat. I'm not on the list, obviously, but you know, the list is really interesting. I'm going to tell you now the ones that I was pleased to see. I'm really pleased to see that Matt Kahn has made it into the top 100. He's number 99, but he's doing really well to get into this list, because some of the people on this list are just the ones you'd expect to hear, you know? They're just ones you'd expect to hear. So I'm glad to see Matt Kahn at number 99. I was also fascinated that there is a musician in here. And in fact, he's in the top, where is he? He's in the top 20. Can you think who that would be? Which musician who is currently alive has made the list of 100 most spiritually influential living people? Pardon? Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan. I have to be honest. I mean, I love Rolling Stone, like a Rolling Stone, that song. I have got a Bob Dylan CD, but he's not really my era. I'm a little bit too young for that. When you get to my age, it's really good to be able to say I'm a little bit too young for that. No, in all seriousness, Bob Dylan, well done, Bob. He's there at number 16. Brilliant. So I was glad to see him. 32 is Amma, the hugging saint. Nice to see her there. Who else do I want to pick out and give a shout out to? Tim Freak, number 50. Is Tim Freak the astronaut? Is he? Or maybe he isn't. I don't know who he is. I'm not sure. We'll disregard that. I'm not sure who he is. You're all going to tell me now anyway. Should we do the top 10 in reverse order? Number 10 is David Lynch. Some of these I'm not familiar with their work anyway. Number 9, Marianne Williamson. Well done, Marianne. Number 8, Desmond Tutu. Number 7, one of my heroes, Thich Nhat Hanh. Brilliant. That guy, to me, he's like a living saint. Although saint conjures up images of, you know, the Christian tradition. I just think Thich Nhat Hanh he is an enlightened human being. I would love to be in his presence one day. I would also love to be in the presence of somebody who's number 6. And some of my team have met this guy. Very, very different, but I love him. Russell Brand. Well done to Russell. I think Russell Brand's fantastic. Number 5, Oprah Winfrey. I'll gloss over that one. I won't say anything. Number 4, Eckhart Tolle. Yeah, Eckhart Tolle's teachings are brilliant. Number 3, Greta Thunberg. Don't be triggered. If you don't like her, just move on. Number 2, Pope Francis. You know, you have to respect the fact that, you know, he is a leader for millions and millions of people around this world. And if you don't like the Catholic Church and what they stand for, again, move on. You have to respect other people's beliefs. Number 1, who do you think number 1 is? It's obvious when you see it. The Dalai Lama. Dalai Lama. Dalai Lama is number 1. I'll also give a shout out to numbers 11 to 20. 20, Matthew Fox. Don't know Matthew Fox. 19, Neil Donald Walsh. 18, Alice Walker. 17, Edith Eger. Don't know her. 16, Bob Dylan. 15, Mirabai Starr. Don't know her. 14, Ariana Huffington. Don't know her. 13, Sadhguru. Sorry, I know I've pronounced his name wrong. I do know who he is, actually. He's one of the people I've subscribed to on YouTube. He's brilliant. 12, Deepak Chopra. Everybody loves Deepak. Number 11, Paulo Coelho. Yeah, he's brilliant as well. So it's just a really, really interesting list, I think. Anyway, I enjoyed having a look at that. Right, 8 minutes in. Shall I tell you about who's been turning up then at my door in terms of Heart Squad? Thank you very much for everybody that's commented on who they would like me to channel next. Freddie Mercury got off to a sterling start, has to be said, and was here straight away. As soon as you call Freddie's name, he's here. Faster than the speed of light, hey Freddie, yeah. He showed himself to me, and he's still showing himself to me. He looks like the way he's dressed is a cross between a matador and a flamenco dancer. A little bit more towards the flamenco dancer than the matador, because he's got this white top on, which is very blouson, very puffy, and it's also in layers, like fringes. It's like puffy white. It's got things hanging. He looks very, very good. Slim, dark black trousers. So he's in that energy. He's very in that sort of, very into the Spanish energy. he's very into the Spanish energy. Montserrat Caballé, I know, is also in the wings with Freddie. There's something that Freddie, it's not just Freddie, there's a few of them are bringing to my attention about scales. So those of you that are singers, particularly classical singers, I'm not even going to attempt to do it because I'm not. You have to do your scales in the morning. Julie Andrews, up and down on your scales. And Freddie was showing me him doing that for some reason, going, up, 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 and then down, 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 and like the voice, using the voice as a barometer, up and down, and beautiful. And then I turned on my TV last night, straight after Freddie showed me himself doing this for some reason, and it had Russell Watson. Do you know who Russell Watson is? Russell Watson is a trained classical singer as well, and he was talking about scales, musical scales. It was all a bit bizarre because Russell Watson was actually on the Crufts dog show with his 2 dogs. So, anyway, there's something about musical scales coming through. And I guess it's to do with toning the voice. So that's how Freddie showed me himself. Next person to show themselves was Prince. Levitating, transcending what, feels as though we can't transcend. Then I felt the energy of George Michael. George Michael was in the car with me this morning, basically. When I say he was in the car with me, because I've asked everybody who they want me to channel next, I said to Metatron, okay, well, they want them all. So who is it? George Michael comes on the radio at that point. So George is there in the car and he's reminding us all that we need to be finding our happy space. We need to be finding our happy space or our happy place. And as I want to say we were driving along, because he's always in the car with me. When he's there, he's in the car with me. We're following this car in front and it's got, lots of things hanging off its dashboard and mirrors, and there's a Simpsons figure, Bart Simpson, I suppose, hanging in the back window. I think sort of pulling his trousers down or something like that. It's all a bit daft, all a bit silly, but, the point was George was saying, yeah, but that's her happy space in that car. That's her happy space. And he said, what's your happy space? And in fact, as I walked in my office today, he said to me, this is your happy space, isn't it? I said, yeah, this is my happy space. This is where I feel happy. But so where is your happy space? If it's not somewhere you can actually physically go to today, go there in your mind. Ask to be taken there in dream state. Go there in meditation. Okay? It's really important to be in your have a place which is your happy space. Anybody that's ever had any form of treatment or given birth, given birth is a good one. You're told to sort of have this place to go to in your mind. Mine was always like a walled garden. I always used to imagine myself in a walled garden, which was very peaceful and tranquil and beautiful. And, when other things are going on around you or happening to your body, mentally you're in this place, and it just brings a great sense of peace and a great sense of healing and a great sense of balance is what he's saying as well. Great sense of balance. So George is saying you need to be thinking about what is your happy place? What is your happy space to go to, and go there. And it's to counteract a lot of this sort of madness that's out there at the moment. And a lot of the unhappiness that's also out there at the moment that is just as contagious as any virus. That's the truth. It's to be around positive people, life-affirming people, is contagious. To be around people that are, very low vibration, negative, down, can affect us as well. Doesn't mean, of course, we abandon those that are feeling down. It's not what I'm saying at all. But it's just Take yourself into a happy space is what George is saying. George was also bringing through an energy of family. And he, of course, he came from a very strong family, very close family. And he was just showing me family both sides of the veil, basically. You know, family that's still here on earth and family that is with him in spirit, including his sister, of course, who passed in December. And as I'm thinking about family and the fact that he had a close family, the next song that comes on the radio is the Bee Gees. And the Bee Gees have been on my radar for a little while in terms of Heart Squad. There are 3 of them that have died. And I was particularly fond of Robin Gibb, I have to be honest. I love that song, Gotta Get a Message to You. I love that song. It's such a lovely song. But anyway, it wasn't Robin that came first. It was Morris. I heard Morris's name and I didn't know much about Morris. Turns out he died in 2003 and he was, I think, pretty much one of the, they were all so intrinsic to the group. Of course, Barry's still alive, so shout out for Barry Gibb. It must be very hard for him to have lost 3 brothers, I would imagine. And not just 3 brothers, but 3 brothers who he worked with and whose identity was very much enmeshed with his own. Anyway, I've literally done a 2-minute scan of Morris Gibb online. And what Metatron led me to was this comment that Morris made. And he was talking about a 3-part harmony. Again, what I was saying about scales, musical scales, what Freddie was showing and Russell Watson were talking about in terms of the voice, the scales, harmony, harmonization. So it's this quote from Morris, and he's talking about 3-part harmony, and he says, 1 of us is okay, 2 of us is pretty good, 3 of us is magic. And I think there's something coming through here. 1 of us is okay, 2 of us is pretty good, 3 of us is magic. There's something linked into take this away from music now, just let's use it as a metaphor for life. When we're on our own and just trying to struggle through and, solo, it's okay. When another comes to help us, to support us, it can be pretty good. 3 is the magic number, is what I'm hearing. 3 is the magic number. It's the Trinity, of course, isn't it, as well? Father, Son, Holy Spirit. 3 of us is magic. There's something about the vibration of 3 that is important at this time for all of us. 3 or more, basically. 3 or more. Sorry, I'm wincing because I've got a pain in my throat. Have I said that? I've tried to make this video a few times. Apologies. Yeah, I think I mentioned it. I think my throat's upgrading, actually. Okay, they're talking about taking it away from the realm of, and I'm saying they because they're sort of talking as a collective. I've got George and I've got the 2, I've got Morris and Robin Gibb here, and I've got George Michael here. George is saying he would have loved to have worked with the Bee Gees. Did he ever work with the Bee Gees? I don't know. If he did, he'd like to have done more of it. He'd have loved to have worked with the Bee Gees, I'm hearing. He's got a lot of respect for them. But yeah, what they're saying about the voice. So think about channeling and when I say channeling, it doesn't mean having to be on YouTube channeling. I'm talking about we all channel spirit the whole time. And equally, we can all channel our shadow, and our rage, or we can channel our highest light, and we can channel love, and we can speak with the voice of the angels. So there's something about recalibration of the throat, which is going on at this time. And the recalibration is about being able to channel a higher vibrational frequency. And it is quite interesting that this virus doing the rounds, one of the things it attacks is the throat. So surviving that, which the vast majority of people will, recovering from that, there seems to be a recalibration going on with the throat, and it enables you to reach something higher than you previously have been able to. And that's for all of us, all of us. It's particularly relevant maybe to people who are communicators, who are singers, who are actors, who are writers. But equally, it's also valid to anybody who just has a voice. You know, how are you using your voice in life? Are you using it for good or are you using it for ill? Communication, again, coming up very strongly. Yeah, a couple of the other names that you've been talking about in terms of wanting to hear from, Princess Diana and Dolores Cannon. Not going to do them today. I mean, I could bring them forward, but I'm not feeling them that close right this second as I'm doing this. Let's just see if anything wants to come through. This is only a short little video, so Dolores or Diana. Again, they're coming both forward as a collective. The 2 Ds is what they're showing me. The power of women when they come together. The power of women's voices when they come together. The power of female energy when it is combined. And we all have more feminine energy than we realise that we have, whether we're male or female. They're showing me a double helix for some reason, a double helix, and it's like there's a doubling of energy that each of us is able to pull in and integrate and use, and it is the divine feminine energy in action. Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to go too deep in today because, as I say, my throat's hurting. But, okay, I just pulled some cards. Let's just have these 3 cards then, okay. We've got the World. We've got the Magician. And we've got the High Priestess. They're powerful cards to pull, one after the other. The world is on the brink of something. But we are reminded that we are the magician. We have all of the tools that we need within us. I note the infinity sign, going back to like the double helix that I was being just shown as well. It's as though whatever, I think they're talking, this is like a collective talking. It's as though we have double the resource that we actually think we have inside of us. We have double the strength that we think we actually have. We have double the wisdom. We have double the light. We have double the power. We have double the support. So we need to be reminding ourselves of that, because I think we're at times in our world where we are all feeling a bit depleted, and as though we've actually only got half of what we should have, you know. I've got half of the energy that I need actually for today. And what we're being reminded is you've actually got within you a resource that is untapped. It's a bit like when you give blood, okay? When you give blood, the body's amazing. You give the blood and then the body just makes more of it, you know? It just knows how to do it. It's extraordinary. So if your body is able to do that, just replenish the blood that you give, and it does it quite quickly as well, well, your body, mind, spirit, whole being is able to double any energy that actually you need at any one time. But you have to call on hidden powers, which is the High Priestess. The High Priestess is saying something is hidden, and what I feel is hidden is the magic that you need to tackle what is going on in the world. And also the World card in the tarot is very linked into, it's the final stage before the cycle begins again, okay? So somebody asked me last night, do you feel as though we're in the times of revelation? And I answered, in some ways, yes, I do. But what I mean by that, and it's very important I put a caveat on that, which is I believe that we are in an end of times, but we're not at the end of times. We are at the end of a cycle. We are at the end of a time for something else to come in. It's going to take a lot of energy, I'm feeling, a lot of energy. And I feel as though we need to be remembering the enormous support here on earth, but equally the other side. The other thing that George Michael in particular was talking about is the ancestors. The amount of help from the ancestors, that if we only just pull them in, we can remember quite how blessed we are, and that we are not alone. None of us are alone. Okay. So I think I'll leave that there for now. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to that top 100, and I'm just going to pick a number off the top of my head, and I've got no idea who is at that position. So I'm being told number 53. Shall we see who was holding number 53? Oh, it tells you a little bit about each person. So I'm going to tell you about Tim Freak. Okay, he's not the astronaut, but it's almost like I can channel Tim's energy, because Tim's saying it's fine if you want to see me as that. I think he's quite flattered. Okay, Tim Freak, we'll go to 53 in a minute, but Tim was actually 50. He's a pioneering philosopher who has been exploring spirituality since a spontaneous awakening when he was 12. He's the author of 35 books. He's worked as a death and bereavement counsellor, operating residential retreats in England for the dying and the bereaved. Okay. He guides others directly to the deep awake state at retreats. Okay, sorry, I didn't know who he was, but anyway. That's good though, because if you don't know who people are, then you can, explore. Number 53. How interesting I chose that number. 53 is Rowan Williams. Do you know who Rowan Williams is? Rowan Williams is the 104th Archbishop of Canterbury. Oh, he was. He was the 104th Archbishop of Canterbury from 2002 to 2012. In 2013, he started his new position as Master of Magdalen College at Cambridge University. He's regarded as one of the world's greatest living theologians. I've actually got a lot of respect for Rowan Williams. Take it out of, the Christian church for one moment. He's a philosopher. He's like a modern day philosopher. And I think the truth is, I respect anybody who thinks deeply and who has something to offer our world, even if it isn't something you always necessarily agree with. I think there's far too much shallowness out there. So anybody that's got depth gets my vote, really, as long as obviously they're working for the light. Oh, talking about that, I will just end with one other person today. Let's just give a shout out to Corey Feldman. Tonight, I don't know what time it is, but Corey Feldman is releasing his film exposing links to abuse in Hollywood. And he says he's going to be naming names. So that's one to watch. Not that I think we need to then do a witch hunt, but I think it's another nail in the coffin of old Hollywood and powers that were being able to keep themselves safe. So there are going to be some other names coming up soon. Please don't write them here on my page. I don't like that vibration, naming and shaming, but I'm just bringing it up as an energy because I applaud somebody who's trying to take down an old paradigm, an old energy. And yeah, there are going to be names and faces that are linked to that, but really it's just about revealing it to heal it. So I lend my support very much to Corey. Much love, everybody. Half an hour's gone. I better get on with my day. Have a good one. Take care of yourselves. Love you all. See you soon. Bye.